Hello and welcome to my How to Be the Imposter guide. A quick note before we begin, this guide will cover one imposter games on my playgroup's rules. If you have somehow managed to find this video and you're not part of my playgroup, these are the rules we use. This guide will also briefly touch on Maddie's rules, and when we talk about those, we will be talking about Mira because it is the best map for those. But for our group's rules, we will be focusing mainly on Skeld. We will not be going over Polis or Airship because both of those maps are really only good for 2 imposter games, and my playgroup can almost never get the 8 people required to have a good 2 imposter game. So, to begin with, rule number 1, kill rows first. But seriously, what I mean by kill rows first is, in our playgroup, it's me, but in other playgroups, it could be somebody who asks too many questions or is a little bit too into playing detective. Anyone that the group is going to have a little bit more trust, quote unquote, in is a good option for a first kill. Secondly, kill in secluded areas. Now, this one feels a little bit obvious. But what I mean by this is that most people tend to assume that because nobody's going to see you if you kill an electrical, you can vent out right away, there's a wall there, that it's a good place to kill. But when I say secluded, I mean pick an area where the body is not going to get reported right away. In this regard, navigation and reactor are both 2 of the best places to kill. Both rooms require you to go into them to check to see if the body's there, and most players will just kind of walk past them on their way to their tasks. They also are not exactly hot spots for tasks. Reactor only has, I think, 2, not including the sabotage, unless I'm missing one. Oh, 3, because you can clean the vent now. And navigation is also light on tasks. So these are both good places to leave a body, whereas electrical, it's going to get reported pretty fast. There's a myriad of tasks in there. You're basically asking for the body to get reported right away. Same with locations like admin or just in the middle of a hallway. You need to be very careful about where and who you kill. The reason for this is the longer a body sits, the less likely you are to get voted out. And likewise, if the body is somewhere where it's not going to get reported right away, you don't have to rush as fast to put distance between yourself and the body. If it's somewhere where it's going to get reported right away, then you need to make your way to the other side of the map and be seen on the other side of the map as quickly as possible, which can be a little tricky. It's kind of up to who's in the area. Once you've killed, it is a pretty good idea to put that space between the body, but it's more important to make sure that you're seen far away from the body. If you kill a nav and you run all the way to upper engine and nobody sees you there, then you haven't really accomplished that much. However, if you kill a nav and then you make your way to somewhere where there's a group of crewmates that will see you and notice you, then you're going to be less likely to be voted out for just being unable to be accounted for. Another reason it's good to kill in those remote places is that it increases the odds of you being able to pull off a double kill. Double kills are really, really important. If you're on 6 players and you get a double kill, then you're down to 4. Can't vote on 4. So if you're on 5 and you get a double kill, then you're down to 3. You have to vote on 3. So if they don't have any information, they're in a really bad spot. If you're on 4 and you get a double kill, instantly win. That being said, double kills are also really risky because you are almost certainly not going to be able to pull off a double kill just by taking your time and hiding a body and getting that second kill naturally. You're probably going to need to kill really fast and then kill again as soon as your second kill is off cooldown. this is inherently pretty risky, um, not just because killing quickly like that increases your odds of making a mistake and just getting seen, like getting caught red-handed. It's also possible that the other remaining crewmates are just hanging out. And now you're the only one that they can't vouch for because they saw each other the whole round, which I'll talk more about that in a moment. That being said, if you can pull off a double kill, very good. And hiding those bodies is a good way to do that. That being said, if you're not going for the double kill, you do still need to make sure that those bodies don't get found right away. And a good way to help with that, using your sabotages effectively. You can use your sabotages, namely Reactor and O2, to move crewmates to specific areas. Reactor requires at least 2 people to move to the far left of the map, whereas O2 requires 2 people to go, one to the center, one to the upper right. So it's pretty reliably going to move crewmates around so that they can't find the bodies that you've left laying around. For example, you can kill a nav, call Reactor, and in addition to nav being a very good place to kill, Reactor is going to make sure that there's nobody around that's going to accidentally stumble upon the body. Reactor can hide bodies in a lot of places, actually, because it gets people completely away from the right side of the map. So O2 acts similarly. It gets people more to the right of the map, so you can use this to move people away from areas you don't want them in. But this one is a little less reliable because rather than everyone forming up in one spot, they're going to be splitting into 2 areas. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, though. If you notice that somebody's buddying, which we will talk more about why that is a terrible thing for you in just a moment, O2 can be used to split them apart because it's very, very difficult for one crewmate to move from wherever they are to O2 and admin and then up to O2 and O2. Calling oxygen like that can pretty often split up a group of buddying crewmates. Another way you can use your sabotages effectively is to use them to be witnessed by the other crewmates. For example, you kill someone, you sabotage reactor, you run over to reactor, everyone's in reactor. Then they find a body in shields later on. Well, I was in reactor with everyone else. I don't know. And they have no information. You've hit a body effectively. Another effective tool, comms, lights. Those are possibly even more powerful than reactor and O2. Comms can take people off of cams and off of admin. Admin being the crewmate's most powerful tool, that's very good for you. It can also slow the progression of tasks just a little bit, since sabotaging comms stops people from being able to look at their map to see where the next task is. Lights, on the other hand, is a little more simpler. You can use it to stop the other crewmates from being able to see things. Mostly you killing them. For example, if 2 people are buddying, you can sabotage lights and kill as soon as they get a little bit far from each other. For people who aren't playing on our playset's rules, do keep in mind that with higher vision, lights are a little less powerful. So maybe don't kill like right on top of someone. But lights plus shapeshifter can be a very, very strong way to get rid of buddying groups. Because even if they see you, then you were disguised as somebody else. Lastly, doors. I they just don't really do this too much. If you ever find yourself in the middle of nowhere with nothing to do, you can pull up your map and just close all the doors for no reason. But really, I would avoid utilizing doors too much. They slow down tasks. You can, in theory, big brain, close door, vent in, kill, vent out, door open. Oh no, but it doesn't. It, they're just not very good. Earlier, we mentioned players who are buddying up These are terrible for you because people who have been buddying for an entire round will know that there is no chance that either of them can be the imposter. And a confirmed crewmate is very, very bad for you. If a confirmed crewmate makes it to the final 3, then they already know, the non-confirmed crewmate, that is, already knows exactly who the imposter is. It's very important to you that you break up any groups that are buddying so as not to let any crewmates get confirmed. Now, again, for other play groups, particularly ones with visual tasks on, confirming crewmates is significantly easier and just as important to take them out. But with visual tasks off, the only way to confirm people is with the buddying tactic. So you need to try to break up buddies with lights, as mentioned before. Sabotage lights, run up, kill, or shift, then kill. Or if you don't even feel like sabotaging lights, shift, run up, kill. But that will have its own problems if the person that you're shifting into is it has an alibi and they're confirmed. So it's better to try to break up buddies with lights or O2. This works if there's less crewmates remaining. They might be forced to separate, and you can take them out then. Regardless of your methods, it's important to kill them as quickly as possible before they get a chance to confirm each other. Now, how do you know that people are buddying? Maybe you're down in shields and you kill someone and they were buddying up in upper engine. How are you supposed to know? Admin is not just a tool for crewmates. In addition to being a powerful tool for crewmates, it is one of your strongest tools. You can use it to, as mentioned before, check for buddies. You can also use it to find your next victim. Say you're looking on the map. Oh, everyone's in reactor and there's one person in navigation. Vent to nav, kill, vent back. You have plenty of time to get wherever you want before somebody gets to nav. Now, that's just one example, but knowing where the crewmates are can help you plan your next kill. You can also use it to lie about where you were. Take a look at admin. There's nobody in electrical. Oh, I was in electrical. Nobody can confirm that. Nobody can confirm that you weren't there, though. That being said, it's better to not lie if you don't have to, most of the time. Now, there's some edge cases here, but the better you get it, the more you play imposter, the better you'll get at just knowing, okay, here's where the truth is good, here's where the truth is bad. You should always have a backup lie that sounds convincing. Be thinking about what tasks you're passing and what tasks you would be doing if you were a crewmate so that you can make those lies as convincing as possible. But it's also better to lie ambiguously. Oh, Rose, you just said try to lie convincingly. Which one is it? Well, both, sort of. You need to have convincing lies where you can say exactly what you were doing all the time, but maybe you weren't so sure about one thing. That way, if it's like, oh, I think I ended the round in cafeteria. No, you didn't. I was in cafeteria. Oh, well, I might have like just exited. I think I was like I was heading up to do my download in weapons. That way, it's suspicious, but you technically have. Now, I'm saying all this, and once again, it's really better to just have good positioning and not have to lie about where you were. But when you are forced to lie, you want to keep your lies a little bit ambiguous. You want to only use them as a last resort. When you are caught in a lie, and this is where lying ambiguously comes in, you need to double down. No, I was definitely there. I might have just been in a position in the room that you didn't quite see me. Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss. Do not let them change your mind. You need to change theirs. Play to your strengths. If you know that you're capable of lying, you can afford to use risky lies a little bit more. But if you know that you're not very good at lying, Randy, then you might need to try to focus on having really good positioning and not having to put yourself in that position to lie. Lastly, I want to talk a little bit about Mira, specifically on Maddie's rule set. Mira is very poor on mine. Uh, Skeld is way better. But with Maddie's rules, Mira is absolutely the best map. So Mira changes the game just a little bit for imposters. Namely, this whole guide, I've talked a lot about your positioning here, moving the crewmates around, using the sabotages, pop up somewhere where you know you're going to be seen, so that you can. None of it matters on Mira. It is way more important to just get kills fast, but it doesn't matter so much where exactly you are because the vents on Mira line up everywhere. Now, it matters a little bit. If you are in reactor, then you can't vent into greenhouse and just walk around like nothing's wrong, especially if people saw you going in. But that's not positioning as much as it is really focusing on the crewmates and what they're going to know about you. You want to make sure that you don't do anything that messes with their perception that you might be a normal crewmate. Don't pop up anywhere that they're not going to expect you to be. Don't disappear for long periods of time where nobody's going to see you. You want to kill quickly, get out of that area, reappear somewhere else, fake a task, walk around with someone, separate, kill, do it all again. Lastly, even though the vents go everywhere, don't overutilize them because then you'll get caught out by door logs. Also, that thing I said about like leaving reactor and then popping up somewhere else where someone's not expecting you, uh, you can get caught pretty easily like that, but you can always pass it off to shapeshifter if that specifically happens. That is it for this imposter guide. I'm sorry that the quality maybe wasn't up to the standards I had promised, but I hope that it was at least a little bit helpful. Um, yeah. Thank you very much for watching.